Francis, I have two.
It's time. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for joining us for the video conference meeting. We have a few announcements to make regarding the video conference meeting. If the video conference is disconnected at any time during the meeting shall be stopped and reconvened once the connection is restored. If communications are unable to be restored within 30 minutes, items remaining for consideration will be considered no later to later today, October 27th at 4:00 p.m. via video conference. The agenda and documents are located on okc.gov. Anyone wishing to speak about an agenda item, public hearing, or to speak under citizens to be heard must call 405-297-2422 or email aqua@ocwt/support@okc.gov. Please provide your name, phone number, and the item number and the reason you wish to comment. If you call in after your item has been heard, you will be allowed to speak under citizens to be heard. Speakers will be allowed 3 minutes to comment. Staff will attempt to submit requests received during the meeting to the chair. Please press *6 to speak when recognized by the chair. Thank you. With that, I will call to order the October 27th meeting of the Oklahoma City Water Utilities Trust. We have a quorum. The next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. McAtee. Seconded by Trustee Martinez Brooks. Any comments or questions? Please vote.
Larry McAtee votes yes.
Mr. McAtee votes yes.
I am not seeing the voting button on mine.
You may need to press escape on your keyboard to bring the Chrome screen back up.
Or just go down to the bottom, open your Chrome button.
Sorry, I'm back with you now.
All right, 5-0, the motion passes. The next item on the agenda is a consent docket. There are items A through J. I would take a motion for the entire consent docket. So it's moved by Councilman Stonecipher, seconded by Mr. Freeman. Are there any comments or questions or any items that you would like to pull or talk about separately? Hearing none, vote.
Larry McAtee votes to receive.
And it passes 5-0. Next on the item is the concurrence docket. There are 5 items of projects that are being done concurrently with the Water Utilities Trust in the city of Oklahoma City. A couple of these are MAPS projects today. There's a change order, I think, on some improvements by, well, there is the approval of the lower park and the utility work that goes along with that. So anyway, there's 5 items. Is there a motion to approve the concurrence docket? Moved by Craig Freeman, seconded by Mark Stonecipher. Any questions or comments regarding the concurrence docket? Please vote.
Larry McAtee moves to approve the concurrence docket.
And it passed 5-0. There are no items under the emergency construction contracts today. Next up is item 6, items for individual consideration. The first is a presentation on the 72-inch water main condition assessment. Mr. General Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have a short presentation by Larry Hare on the work that he and the consultant did on the evaluation of the 72-inch water main that transports the majority of water out of the Draper water treatment facility. So Larry, you are up.
Very good, thank you. I hope I get through this presentation because the house lights in my house have been flickering all day today, so we'll see how this goes. The Draper treatment plant is one of our 2 treatment plants for water. It's located there on the southwest side of the Draper Lake. And it has several big inch mains that come out of it. One of which is a 72-inch pre-stressed concrete cylinder pipe. And it's one that we've had a historical problem with. Since we've had it installed in 1989, we've had problems with it. We've had a total of 18 different kinds of emergencies where we'd had to shut down the main and disrupt service to the city. 11 of those 18 were actual catastrophic failure of the pipe itself, where we had a break. Now, to go into the anatomy of the concrete pipe, it has a thin steel cylinder which gives it its shape. And then that cylinder is protected on the inside of the pipe by a thin mortar coating. And on the outside, it has a thicker concrete coating. And then what gives it the pipe its strength are all these little wire wrappings that go around and around in a spiral fashion. And then it's protected by a thin coating of concrete. If you get enough of these wires broken over time, then you end up with something that looks like that. This is one of the catastrophic failures on our line. I think back in 2016, here you can see the individual wire wraps that have failed, thereby leaving the pipe vulnerable to failure because that little thin steel cylinder gives it no strength whatsoever. But back in 2016, when we had our last main break, luckily we had installed a 48-inch main next to the 72-inch main to where we can route water service through that main while we attended to the broken 72-inch. And we were able to get the line back in service in about a week because that we had these repair pieces on hand at the Draper plant. And the $273,000 cost it took was pretty much labor to install the pipe. So back then we were thinking, okay, we're kind of getting a little tired of repairing this pipe, especially at these high prices. And we were seeing a frequency of failure along the pipeline. So we identified 7.5 miles of this pipe to be replaced, and with a construction estimate of a little over $32 million, plus or minus. And then we got to thinking, well, how about if we assess the pipe's condition and see exactly, is the whole thing what I call rotten, or are there certain aspects of it that can be saved? So we hired Triad Design Group, and through them, they hired Pure Technologies to do several types of inspection in the pipe. We drained the pipeline, and they did an electromagnetic inspection where they had a man go inside and push a cart that has electromagnetic sensors on it that gives an overall assessment of the wire wrappings from inside the pipe. Those places that we could not drain fully, we inserted a robot to go down there that was remote controlled. And it also had the same electromagnetic sensors to get a sense of how well the wire wrappings were doing. In the areas where they were doing the manned electromagnetic inspection, we also had a team follow them and tap on the pipe and visually look at the inside of the pipe to see what the condition would be. And in some instances, while they were tapping, they found a couple of hollow spots, which is an indication that the lining kind of pulling away from the steel cylinder. And in some instances, they found cases where the lining had actually fallen off. In many cases, though, where the pipes joined together, we found the mortar in between these two connections had failed and is missing. So those were some cases of repair right there. In addition to assessing the pipe, we also assessed the valves that were in line in the pipeline. A physical inspection where they opened up the vault and took a look at and operated the valve, make sure it was green fine. They opened up the operation box and make sure the gears were in good shape and that the grease was in good shape. And also, while they were inside the pipe, they did an assessment on the inside of the valves, where they operated the valve to make sure that it was operating correctly inside the pipe and sealing up against the walls of the valve. So the results of the electromagnetic assessment, that out of 2,624 pipes, only 134 pipes were found to be had broken wire wraps, or what I call distressed pipe. And that means that they either had anywhere between 5 to 30 broken wire wraps within each pipe segment. Based upon the location of these distressed pipe, they fall in line with where we have normally had difficulties with the pipe to begin with, especially on the east and west sides of Sooner Road and in between Air Depot and Midwest Boulevard. So the assessment came out to a recommendation where we replace at least 30 pipe segments that have more than 30 wire breaks in it, as well as replace some missing mortar at several joints and replacing the sealing gaskets on all the valves. So for that effort, we're looking at a kind of like an estimated cost of $2 million versus the original $32 million that we saw that for our total replacement. With that, I'll take any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Hare?
Larry, I have a quick question. Is there a reason why we're having so many problems between that certain area of geography right there? You mentioned between Sooner Road and, is it?
During the time that we installed this pipe, the pipe manufacturer had messed with the chemistry of the wire windings, and that made it a little more brittle. And due to normal pump operation and some surge events when we lose power at the plant, you know, the pipe goes through a kind of like an expansion and contraction, you know, and it kind of wears out the pipe or the wires itself, and then they tend to break in that fashion.
Okay, so it was mostly construction and not the actual geography of where it's located?
That's correct. It was based upon the actual material of the pipe that we were using at that time.
Okay.
Once you get over a 60-inch diameter pipe, there are only two options. There's a composite concrete pipe, which is what this is, and it has some problems, or you can buy steel pipe, which is generally a little bit more expensive. And so that's it isn't like it's system wide. It's only in these large diameters. And the only pipe that we have in the finished water system that is over 60 inches is this line that comes out of the south side and goes west out of Draper. Is that right, Larry?
That's correct.
Larry, let me make sure I understand this. What we're talking about is 7.5 miles of pipe installed 1989, and the wire wraps have failed historically. Was it from the beginning, or was it over a period of time? When did we start having this problem?
We started having this problem in 1989, and then they came in random times during the subsequent years up to 2016, which was our last emergency that we had to take.
The pipe was installed before 89.
Yeah.
I like 2 million a lot better than 32 million, but how often are we going to be dealing with wrap failures on the old pipe from 1989?
We can institute a program where we can assess the pipe like every 5 years to ensure that there are no additional wire wrap failures. And if we do see those segments that are exhibiting a tendency toward failure mode, then we can replace that segment and keep going.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Certainly.
Are there other questions? The item is to receive the condition assessment report project WC 0904. Is there a motion to approve the report?
I move to approve the report.
You're a little slow, Mr. McAtee. Mr. Stonecipher made the
Okay.
motion and seconded by Trustee Martinez Brooks. Any other questions or comments? Then let's vote. Mr. McAtee?
Vote to receive.
And it passes 5-0. The next item on the agenda is amendment number 2 to contract with engineering services with Triad Design Group for the next step of this project. It's an increase of $36,606.75. Any explanation, Mr. General Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Triad was the engineer for phase 1 and 2, where they did the evaluation and wrote the report. So we recommend using them for an increase of $36,000 to manage the construction of the replacement of those 30 joints.
All right, is there a motion? Motion by Trustee Martinez Brooks, seconded by Trustee Stonecipher.
Move to use Triad.
Great. Please vote. Mr. McAtee?
Move to receive, to
Yeah.
utilize Triad.
Okay, great. It passes 5-0. The next item on the agenda is a joint resolution with the City of Oklahoma City and the City of Oklahoma City Environmental Assistance Trust to direct the general manager of Aquit to take all tasks necessary to establish. There's a lot of language here, but in essence, we're combining the Environmental Assistance Trust, which is the City of Oklahoma City's solid waste system, with the Oklahoma City Water Utilities Trust, all of which are presently under the Utilities Department of the City of Oklahoma City and run by the department which Chris Browning oversees. There are some financial advantages of joining the two trusts for coverage ratios for debt. And I believe we have a presentation on that this morning or this afternoon.
Mr. Chairman, we have Dennis Whaley here with PFM, our financial advisor, to give us a brief presentation on the merger of the two entities. So Dennis, are you with us?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. I'm Dennis Whaley with PFM. We're the financial advisor to Aquit. We gave a presentation to council this morning and a brief update on the highlights. As you know, Aquit has the highest bond ratings possible, AAA for Moody's and Standard & Poor's. And our goal is to try to maintain those ratings as we go through this process of merging the utilities. Aquit anticipates some very large capital projects over the next few years, including the Atoka pipeline project, which could significantly increase bond financing needs, which will of course increase debt service. One of the benefits of merging the two trusts, OSEAT and Aquit, will be to significantly improve the fixed charge coverage ratio, and over time have a modest improvement in the debt service coverage ratio post-merger. We have spoken to the rating agencies. We anticipate no negative impact on ratings from this merger. And once during the process of the merger, we will be defeasing the remaining debt that is outstanding for OSEAT. Next steps, we talked to council this morning so that we can begin preparing legal documents. We will then take those documents to OSEAT, Aquit, and council for approval, followed by the defeasance of the OSEAT bonds, and have a merged utility. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Whaley. Are there any questions for Mr. Whaley? I know 3 of you already heard this morning.
Hey, I just had one question of Craig. I take it once the Environmental Assistance Trust is gone, all these matters will come up on the city council agenda under the concurrence docket?
Actually, once the Environmental Assistance Trust is dissolved, it's merged in with the Water Utility Trust. So it will be heard with the Water Utility Trust. There's be another section with the Water Utility Trust.
But it'll also go, like now the items from the Water Utilities Trust go to council for concurrence.
Yes, that's correct. It'd be just like, you're right, Mark. I'm sorry. I misunderstood. You're exactly right. So it'll go through Water Utility Trust and then show up as concurrence item, just like the Water Utility Trust items do.
Exactly. Okay, I understand. Thank you.
Other questions?
Were there any issues from council this morning on this presentation? No?
No, we didn't have any questions this morning or concerns.
This is actually a significant issue. It really increases the total revenue for the Oklahoma City Water Utilities Trust. So, all right, is there a motion?
Move to go with the joining of the trust.
Okay, there's a motion and a moved by Larry McAtee, seconded by Craig Freeman. Are there other questions? Hearing none, please vote.
Larry McAtee votes to approve the moving of the two entities together.
Great. And it passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is to enter into executive session to discuss Leo et al. Versus the Water Resources Board of Oklahoma and the City of Oklahoma City before the Supreme Court in the state of Oklahoma. I would recommend we go into executive session, vote now, and then complete the docket and then go into executive session. So with that, is there a motion? Moved by Councilman Stonecipher, seconded by Craig Freeman. Please vote.
Move to proceed with the executive session.
You're going to have to go and come back.
And it passed 5-0. And again, we will go into executive session at the tail of the docket. Next on the is item 7, items from trustees. Are there any other items the trustees would like to discuss? Hearing none, we'll go to item 8, which is a general manager's report. Mr. Browning?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can you hear me okay? I'm getting static on my end. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, here.
Okay, good. I'm getting a lot of static on this end. So let me give you a brief update on the arrears. We have about 14,300 customers in arrears right now with a total of about $3 million. When you look at the pro forma, we are actually on target for expenses and revenues, even though we have so many in arrears. So we made the adjustment in the modified budget, so we're still in pretty good shape. We do have a presentation that we've been waiting to do for quite some time. Lee Booth is with us. She is the customer service superintendent, and she's going to tell you all about our new customer portal that will go live in just a few days. So Lee, are you with us?
I am here. I think Michelle has arranged for the presentation on her end.
Lee, this is Crystal. Can you see the presentation?
I cannot.
How about now?
You're starting to share.
Yes.
There we go. There we're here. Okay. Good afternoon. First off, I'm a last minute pinch hitter. And so I will own that and claim that. Your presentation today was to have been by our project manager for this project, Kelly Hadsel. Like many of our employees today, she is trapped at home without electricity. And so I'm going to talk about her project and the accomplishments. So with that, the next slide there, Crystal. There we go. So I came before you on June 18th, 2019 to obtain authorization and a funding request for a number of customer service improvements. These included some restructuring in our call center as well as some upgrades to our telephone system. And we were also developing a new customer portal and mobile application. So work on that customer portal or web page has been completed. And we are here today to give you a little sneak peek before we go live next week. So the portal provides some new functionality for our customers as well as some improvements to existing online services. Those are outlined in this slide here. Among our project goals were the desire to simplify our processes, improve our customer experience, and increase self-service options. And we wanted to achieve those goals with a consistent look and feel across the web page or portal and the mobile application. So I want to walk briefly through the features, and as I do, I'm going to switch back and forth between a view of the portal and a view of the mobile application so that you can see the cohesiveness between those two. Crystal, I don't think that's working. Maybe I should try and share my screen.
I'm sorry. Trying again.
Okay. I see the presentation. Does everybody else?
Yes.
Okay. Now we're ready for the next page. Okay. So this is the main login screen for My OKC Utilities. That's the name of the new portal. From this main page, customers can, without logging in, make a one-time payment, view alerts within the system. We'll talk some more about that. Obtain efficiency information, so conservation tips and programs. They can also view outages and service interruptions. And again, you can do all of this without logging in to the portal. Of course, we want them to log in for the expanded services. And Crystal, if you'll, next slide, we'll talk about that. So once you log in, establishing a profile, this is what the home page looks like. So across the top are icons for different modules, and we're going to go through those. But basically, you see on this page, the customer information will be up for the specific account, will be up in the top corner there. That's the customer account name. Oh, nope, back, there we go. Customer account name. So customers are able to manage multiple properties with that drop-down box. We just have it grayed out because this is a specific account, or blocked out because it's a specific account. So at a glance on this home page, you will see the ability to look at billing, to view your bill, to pay your bill, to look at the specifics for your trash collection at your address, usage, information. You also see your IMSA status, your enrollment status. You can obtain more information about IMSA and enroll or unenroll during the appropriate enrollment period in September. There's also specific information about your account. Notifications, which we'll talk about later, that you can sign up for, communication that you elect to receive from us. Alerts, which equate to outages. Those will be main breaks or large service interruptions that our dispatch folks are working on. The compare tile will allow you to compare your usage information from one year to the next. And then again, a tile related to efficiency. So on this next slide, now I'm jumping over to the portal, and I show you on the left-hand side what the app looks like in the App Store, My OKC Utilities. The center splice is a rendition of that login page. So here's where you would sign in after you'd established a profile, or where you could register a new profile. And again, the customers have the same, some of the same functionality that they have on the portal with consistent icons. They can make a one-time payment without logging in. They can view alerts or system outages, and they can receive conservation tips, and they can contact us. The final slice over to the right there is a depiction of what that home screen would look like. It would show your account information. It would have your solid waste information for your trash collection day. And then you have the consistent icons, which are the same as on the portal, to allow you to get to the functionality that is available on the portal. So then if we go back to the portal, so next slide, Crystal. There we go. This is the main billing screen. So here's where your account charges will be listed. So I understand that the text is rather small in this presentation format, but it is a responsive website design, so you can zoom into it so that you'll have a larger font, and the page will also realign and optimize based upon your screen size. So over to the left there, you will see a banner that says, right now says My Account, Manage Your Account with Ease. Those are banners that are located throughout these slides on different modules, and they allow us to control messages, promote programs like recycling, affordability, or conservation. And those are customizable issues, that customizable content that we'll be able to modify ourselves in-house. On this screen, customers who've logged in can make a one-time payment and make a donation to H2O. They can set notifications for their billing activities. In other words, receive an email or text when your bill is due, receive an email or text when your payment is received. You can enroll in auto pay, which will include the option for recurring H2O donations. And you can also enroll in various payment arrangements, including average monthly billing, and obtain a payment extension or installment plan. On the next slide, we'll look at the usage module. There we go. So here, customers can look at their consumption graphically. And an important addition that we've not done previously is we've included the tier indicator lines. We believe that these tier indicator lines will help customers understand the impact of increased consumption on their bill. Customers who have more than 1 meter on this account can use the drop-down service type meter up over in the corner there that says water. That will allow them to look at consumption for other meters, for instance, if they have an irrigation meter. On the next slide, we look at the compare module. This takes the consumption, which we've provided on the bill and on the website before, really to the next level. And it allows customers to look at a side-by-side view of their water consumption for 2 years. The green is the previous year in this instance, and the blue is the current year. And we believe that this offers a substantial benefit to customers because they'll be able to see their increased seasonal usage and compare it for the entire summer period. We know that we have varying rain in May, June, July, August, September. And so while customers may use the same amount of water over that late spring and summer time period, it could be drastically different in May and August. And by allowing them to see the comparison over the entire year, we believe that it'll help them understand their usage better and hopefully answer some of their questions. So now if we go back to the portal view, to the mobile view slide here, those first two slides depict that billing module that we saw. So this is the functionality that's available on the mobile app that mimics all of that billing information. So your water usage, your drainage fees, your trash charges, your ambulance, your IMSA fee. So the usage tab there, again, mimics the website, has the tier lines, and then finally the compare module allows you then on the mobile app to compare your usage. So this just demonstrates the consistency across the portal and the mobile app. So now we're looking at the services module. On the services module, customers can start service with a move-in, stop service by moving out of an address, request to add, remove, or repair a recycling or trash cart. They can manage their IMSA enrollment at the appropriate time of the year. And they can also, if they're an industrial wastewater customer, view and print their results. Transferring service is available there as well. So that's an example of expanded self-service options that I talked about us wanting to be able to make available to customers. Next slide, please. So this is the alerts module, and this map contains sample data from our test system. So what will be depicted here will be outages that have been reported to dispatch. So alerts will allow customers to view planned work and estimated service restoration times. In addition, if customers have opted in under our notifications module, they will be eligible to receive an email or text information about their outage. And again, this outage information, not the notifications, but the outage information is available pre-login to the general public or post-login to all of our customers. So the next slide just briefly shows notifications. This is really a depiction of an inbox type notification that's managed much like email, but it's correspondence that the customer has had with the call center, that they've contacted us, or it reflects notifications that they've signed up for and that they've received. So it's managed like an email box. Next slide. Finally, the efficient module. This area allows us to expand information for customers about conservation and recycling programs and tips. Again, this is flexibility that we've not had before that really allows us to add and update messages very quickly and really expand the amount of information that we're making available to customers. So as a recap of the benefits to the customer, man, Crystal, you didn't get that segue? There you go. Customers are going to have to log in and create a new profile. We know that that's not necessarily a popular approach with customers, but we think it's important for people to know that this is not an upgrade to an existing site. This is a replacement of an existing site. And we need for those customers to log in and establish their own payment profiles and their contact information and preferences with us. And so it may be a pain point for some upfront, but it's a one-time pain point. And we believe that the process is significantly easier than it's previously been. And so we're very hopeful that customers will respond to that. The good news is that you can register from your computer and establish that profile, and it will carry over to the mobile app. You would just log in, or you can register on the mobile app and again, use that same login credential when you're back at your computer. One of the biggest things that's really, really important to me outside of the benefits to the customers is the substantial benefit to our call center representatives, because for the first time, they'll be able to, in real time, have a parallel experience with customers. Customers are very frustrated when they have web problems and they contact us. And since we can't view what they view, that sometimes extends the length of time it takes us to resolve their issues. So we believe that by being able to see things real time from their view, that we'll be able to resolve their issues much faster. Our customer service reps who've been testing this environment love this, and they're very appreciative of it. Also added benefits, we are really have expanded options for H2O contributions and recurring contributions, and we hope to expand customer donations in that area. I've talked several times about increased communication and public education, and post go live, we really hope to be able to get the word out about the application and get customers enrolled. And our go live date is scheduled for next Monday, November the 2nd. And so with that, this was a postcard that our customers received last month to inform them that the new portal was coming. And I'm happy to take any of your questions.
Any questions for Lee? Well, this looks
One
great.
question, Lee, when I get calls from ward constituents about a spike in their water bill, a lot of times it's the result of some type of leak. Will the 2-year consumption module be a good tool for letting people identify they've got a problem?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And we are working very hard on some, not to change the subject, but we're working very hard on some improved leak educational material and a proactive response that we hope will really help us in the spring and summer. But absolutely, the ability for customers to see their consumption over a 2-year period, one, should alert them to the fact that they actually have a problem, or 2, perhaps remind them of the fact that they just really use a lot of water that time of year.
Hey, Lee, once that leak educational materials come out, will you make sure that gets sent to all the council people?
Absolutely, absolutely. We're going to do it as a bill insert. It's finalized, and we are initiating a program where we'll automatically send that to customers whenever they have a substantial increase in their consumption, just to advise them to kind of be aware and look around.
So Lee, I have a
Great.
quick, will the old app go away?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. They will. The old app will go away and will be removed from the App Store, and then the new app will become available.
Okay.
When I say we're going into executive session.
All right, are there other questions? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the general manager reports? Moved by Councilman Stonecipher, seconded by Trustee Martinez Brooks. Please vote.
Larry McAtee moves to accept.
And it passes 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Are there citizens to be heard? None?
Don't do it twice.
No citizens to be heard at this time. We will recess and go into executive session. And you should all have separate instructions on that.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is Francis, and I sent them, I think it was about 11:40 executive session that was scheduled for 2 o'clock.
Great, thank you. So leave this session and go to the next one.
Yes, and I'm going to call Councilman McAtee to join us.
Okay, great. Are we back? I see Mr. Freeman. I think Trustee Martinez Brooks is with us. And I think that's enough to adjourn. Francis, we are now in open session and we are adjourned.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.